You must feel elated after a performance like tonight.
Yes, elated and slightly tired.
I reckon. How long does it take you after a show to wind down? Do you now go and sort of...
Good half hour. Half hour. She winds me down after...
It's, what, 10 years since you first came to Australia?
11.
Yeah, about 11.
Yeah. And Wings is now 3 years old.
Yes, approximately. Yeah.
The thing is that I know you've gone very hard, you've tried very hard to have it known as Wings, but it ends up being called Paul McCartney and Wings.
Well, that's fair enough for the time being, you know, but, you know, eventually, a lot of people just call it Wings. It doesn't matter. We don't mind, you know.
Did you ever really want to...
Whatever they call us anything but early.
Especially tomorrow morning. Did you ever want to try and get away from being a name and get back into just a group call? Was that the idea?
Well, that's the idea of kind of calling it Wings, yeah, because it was never Paul McCartney and the Beatles.
Right.
So there's no point really in having Paul McCartney and Wings. But, you know, till the people know it as Wings, we don't mind if they call it whatever they call it, as I say.
Yeah. Linda, of course, you've been with the group started.
Sure.
And how much deliberation was there as to whether or not you'd join the group?
Not much, actually. Paul asked me to join, and I didn't know much in the beginning, but I've grown with Jimmy here, and Paul here, and Joe.
It went something like this. I said, do you want to join the group? And she said, yeah. Come on, girl. That was about it.
Just want a God's smooth talk as you talk to him.
That's it, smooth talking. There was a joke about that, but I couldn't tell it here.
No way.
I'll tell you.
I'd like you to introduce the other guys in the group and just tell us a little about them.
First of all, over here we have Joe English, and this is the famous drummer here who is American. He's from New York. He plays the drums in 15/16 time. Which is a lead guitar player, sir. That's Joe.
So that's Joe covered.
Linda, you know.
Linda we know.
Over here from the Melbourne Ambulance Brigade. This evening we have Mr. James McCulloch, who is our lead guitar player.
Welcome, Mr. McCulloch.
And over here, reading a Wings biography, is Danny like to know what we're doing in this world, you know what I mean? He's just checking it out. Going on.
Yeah. This is the baby of the group, right?
He's the youngest, yeah.
Jimmy, you're about 21 or so.
I'm 22.
22. Oh, he's older than I thought he was. It's deceptive. Absolutely. How old were you when the Beatles started?
I was about 12.
You were about 12. Did you remember them much? I mean, were you a big fan of theirs? Were you a big fan of Paul?
Oh, maybe 3. Couldn't stand them, did you? No, I like the band. That was good. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim.
Jim's given us solid opinion.
That was almost pleased, right?
A sigh of relief. Linda, you've got the family out here with you.
That's true.
What ages are they?
4, 6, and 12. And they love it here. In fact, we all love it here.
Yeah, listen, just while we got the opportunity, we'd just really like to say, you know, it may sound a bit of a cliche, but we really all love Australia. Beautiful country, cover.
Well, of course, last time you were here, you hardly got to see a thing of it. What do you remember? Just hotel rooms and
yeah, I just remember hotel rooms and a rainforest I walked through once, but that was your lot.
Yeah.
And a few Australian people climbing up hotels and stuff, you know. But this time we've seen a lot more of the countryside and a lot more of the people and stuff, and we're going home.
Big hand for Australia.
But it's beautiful. Yeah.
We'd get the Prime Minister to respond to that, but we don't know which one it is. John Denver came through recently, and he made...
We hear that he walked in grass, yes.
Yes, that's right. Well, he made some statement about grass because he got the most incredible publicity from press. Also, when Frank Sinatra was out here, he only made a couple of mentions, so all of a sudden he got blasted across the front pages.
Oh, yeah.
Are you playing it very cool, or are you just...
We've given it up.
No, but I mean, as far as as far as the press are concerned, are you very, very careful in what you're saying, or are you just having a honeymoon with them, and it's not a problem?
No, it just depends what they ask us, you know. If, we pretty much tell the truth. Depends what they ask us, you know. Nothing to hide, mate. Look, nothing.
All clean,
Clean.
all clean.
Never touch it.
Actually, the Wings thing is a bit of a cooperative in many ways as far as the songwriting is concerned, and I know, how many songs have you written with Paul, Linda?
About half a song.
Just half a song, is that all?
Yeah, I do most of the writing, actually.
Yeah.
But everyone mucks in, you know. Jimmy's written, he wrote Venus the Man.
Denny's written half a song.
Put it there,
Denny's getting good. He's written half a song. Haven't you, Denny?
Mind you, he's been in the business 20 years. It should be good.
I'm getting there, slowly but surely.
How are you enjoying Australia? Have you seen much of the country or not?
Well, I've met a lot of old friends that used to live in England, and I don't blame them for moving over here, you know.
You got the weather, you got nice people.
You made a tour of Britain before you came out here.
Yeah.
And it was described, the one quote that came out was that you were doing it as a dress rehearsal for the Australian tour.
Well, I mean, any tour is a dress rehearsal for the next tour, you know.
Yeah, in that sort of context.
Yeah, it just happened to be the one before this, you know.
How important is the tour of Australia to you these days?
Well, it's great, you know. I mean, it's a good tour. They're English-speaking people, you know, and that's a big help to us, because if you start chatting away, you know, you start chatting away and they all kind of say, "Wugala bugula." Well, then, you know, you're on a sticky wicket there trying to tell a joke or anything, you know, so it's handy with the people being very... Mind you, we would have beat you in the test.
How are you doing this?
If that fella hadn't carved up the wicket at Headingley, we would have done it. You know it too, don't you?
Well, you know what?
Tony Gregg, pretty hot this year.
How much?
Scotland!
And Scotland, you've got the farm in Scotland.
We do indeed. Lots of sheep.
Have you spent much time there or not?
As much as we can.
Summertime, you know.
Really? Yeah. Where's your favourite home then, Linda? I thought you'd still have one in New York amongst all yours.
Scotland's my favourite home. Really, no question.
Scotland, yeah.
So Scotland you would call home these days?
And
pretty much.
England.
And London, we've got a house in London and a house and a farm in Scotland, so it's one in a million.
Look out, Australia, we might be swimming here too.
How good are you when you get to the farm? Do you get very domesticated and do the cooking and everything?
Everywhere, I'm very
She is. She's a good cook. Very domestic.
You've got a book coming out of photos too. What's that going to be about?
It starts off in about 1964, 63. Photographs I took when I was in New York, and it goes right on through until today. You know, early rock stuff, Jimi Hendrix, all my favorites.
All the early stuff.
More a compilation of rock stars and things that happen in the rock scene.
Well, it's like all Linda's work to date. Yeah, and she started then, and it kind of goes through black and white, colour, then the kids, and the family, then Wings, comes up to date, you know.
Yeah. You had a song written about you, didn't you?
Yes.
Linda, a Jan and Dean song. What was the story behind that?
Well, it was written when I was about 5. It was #1 in the hit parade. No, really, it was written, but it was sung by a man named Buddy Clark, who was very big in America, but he got killed in a car crash. And it was #1 then, and then Jan and Dean recorded it, and it was #1 again.
Her dad was the lawyer for the songwriter, and he said, instead of a fee, why don't you write a song for my little girl? Which he did. Yeah. And she got dragged onto television at age 5. Yeah. And she got stuck on top of a piano. And they said, now sing Linda. And she didn't know the words or anything. She was only 5, and she just cried.
I felt like I did tonight.
Well, I was surprised because I didn't quite hear what you did in the group, because you don't. You hear a record and you know the lineup of the group and that's it. But you were doing a lot of keyboard tonight. Are you particularly good, or is this something you're mastering?
Something that she's good.
Thanks, lad.
I thought your tambourine work was tremendous, but I just wanted to about your keyboard because I couldn't really see it.
I'm learning.
What instruments do you play then?
Moog, Mellotron, electric piano, and organ.
Have you
You'd
had...
think I was good with all those, wouldn't you?
Well, it's not bad. At least you can confuse people by
Sounds
talking instruments
impressive,
all the time. Yeah.
Blind them with science.
But actually, you were with the Moody Blues, right?
He was.
And I love your name. And I know it's not your real name. Your real name is Danny Lane. And I want to know because you had that song Penny Lane, and I thought Danny Lane, and then I found out your real name is Brian Hines, right? Tell us all about it.
He wrote a song about me.
What, Penny Lane?
I sent her ketchup.
Good. Well, how did you get the Danny Lane name?
I joined the group that was called Danny Lane, the Diplomats, and that is the truth, isn't it?
I mean, joined the group that had
I
that
joined a
name.
group that had the name Danny and the Diplomats.
Yes.
So
Still diplomatic.
he was in a band with a lead singer and the group, you know. What is it? Something in the Beatles, or
Anyway. I believe you two are writing a children's movie on Rupert Bear. Are you going to do it as a cartoon, or are you going to do it as a feature film, or you know, like with live people?
Yeah, no, the idea is to do it like Walt Disney used to do his great feature-length cartoons like Bambi and Snow White and all the great ones. And we'd like to make one like that, using Rupert Bear as the main character, and we'd do the music, which would be great for us because we'd be about 1.5 hours of music, which would be more than we've ever kind of tried to put together. You know?
Yeah.
Be a great challenge.
A great challenge, yes. But there was talk at one stage about you doing a movie for Twiggy, or even performing in it, as sort of a 30s Hollywood-type movie.
No, I think that was the boyfriend, but she went ahead and did it without us.
No, there was a... That's right. There was no, the one I'm thinking about was called Gotta Sing, Gotta Dance.
Gotta sing.
Were you involved in that, or...?
Well, actually, she's a friend of ours, you know, and she just came around and she said, would you do it, you know, I'm doing a thing, and would you do a song for it? And I wrote a song called Gotta Sing, Gotta Dance, which she never ended up doing. I ended up doing on a special called James Paul McCartney myself.
Yeah.
So that's the end of that story, Mark.
It certainly finishes it completely. Absolutely finished. There's a song on the Wings LP, which I can never think the name of, but it's the one you did tonight, that 30s number.
You gave me the answer.
You gave me the answer. I always get the wrong line as the title for that one. That's a delightful thing, and you dedicated it tonight to Fred Astaire. Do you know him, either of you, or is
No, we don't know him, but we
admire him.
We know of him, like most people, you know. I love his old pictures. I mean, to me, he's one of the governors, you know, Fred Astaire. I just love him.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about your photography, Linda. Was it through your photography that you met Paul in the first place in England? When was that, about 1967 or 68? Yeah.
67.
Was it through photography?
Well, I was in London, yes, doing some photographs for somebody else's book, and I met Paul down at the club.
In fact, I picked her up at a club. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. Sorry about that. I said to her, do you want to come to another club? She said, yeah, okay. So we went down there. I mean, I have to admit it now.
That was just like that.
Yes, and then we got married, and with 3 kids later, here we are.
You told us you spent quite a bit of your time in Scotland, and you got the house in London. What's the year divide up into now? Is there much touring involved, or...?
Well, what we try to do is spend summer's pretty quiet time in the music business, you know. So we try and spend time up in Scotland in summer, writing stuff and just cooling out and just getting things together. And then we normally come back down to London sort of at the end of the summer and start grafting.
You get very fit in Scotland. It's very outdoors. Paul shears the sheep. We round them up on horseback. It's a great life.
I was telling one of the newspaper lads the other day, we only just went over to electric clippers.
Electric clippers?
Yeah, I mean, the Aussies have been, well, they've been doing it now for a good 10 years. But we used to, until 2 years ago, I used to shear the sheep with the mate of mine who runs the farm. I used to shear them with the old hand clippers.
I find that incredible to believe, because they're the hardest things in the world to work.
Well, I think they're easier than the clippers and the electric. But, you know. It's only sometimes used the Hoover.
How much do you...
FBI.
You were very much a New York girl before this, weren't you?
Well, I lived in New York.
Yeah.
And so I come from New York, but I was never really New York. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I lived in Arizona for a few years. That changed me. for the outdoor life.
And she's never been the same since.
Sure, you know.
How much do you enjoy the touring? Or would you like... Because, I mean, you must get copped with more of the domestic hassle than Paul, because not only have you got him to look after and you both perform on stage and everything, but you've also got 3 children, which are with you all the time. How do you find touring? Do you find it exhilarating or exhausting?
I love it. The way we've been touring, because we fly to a place like here, then we get to sort of take it easy that night and we play the next day. And it's great because we see the kids a lot, we hang out, we've been staying in houses, which is nice. Get outdoors. It's like a night out for me. Really,
it's almost
I'm
like
enjoying it.
It's like a holiday combined with a tour, you know. Most people kind of just grind themselves into the ground on the tour, you know, but we've tried to work it out so we've got enough spare time. You know.
It used to frighten me because I didn't really know how to sing that well or how to play, but now I enjoy it because I'm falling in with the band.
And she's a good cook, so they're like...
she's a good cook.
After you leave Australia, the Japanese tour is off now,
Yeah, Japanese tour is off.
How do you feel about a thing like that? Because to me, if I may just say it, I think that's a totally ridiculous thing to cancel that tour for something that has got nothing to do with today or your present situation.
No, I think so too. I mean, the annoying thing really is the whole kind of thing, the whole affair is 2 years old. And in America, we made a lot of representations and stuff and said to the American government, you know, will you let us in? And they said...
marijuana charge, wasn't it?
Yeah. And they said, yeah, okay, you know, you're a good boy now, and so that's okay. And so we were allowed in America and Australia. Really? However, in fact, the funny thing is, we had our visas for Japan. It's in the passport. It's there. It's stamped. But it's actually there's one man in Japan, the Minister of Justice, who hadn't actually approved it, and he's the man who's decided not to approve it. So he's a bit. He's not a friend of mine. Whoa!
I've got to comply. I'll tell you know, the first chance I get, I'll put him in. Hey, well, you know, he's eager for it. I'll stick it. He's not Scottish.
Well, we'll leave it on that. Japan's relationship with Scotland seems to be an end. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Mark.
Lovely to have you back in Australia. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Australian coppers.
We can talk Australia like that? No?
Goodbye, Mark, and all your viewers.
Bye, Mark.